So I'm Spencer Foss. I'm going into 8th grade. I'm 12 years old and I'll be turning 13 on December 18th. I've really enjoyed many different robotics classes. I've been going to SDJ for a while now. I was in 7th grade. It was my first year of middle school. I really enjoyed it. One of the middle school robotics teachers, Mrs. Strohall, who was amazing, at the end of our semester, she recommended to some of her students that they do this VR camp involving Comic-Con and creating a game. So I love games, and I think VR is a very cool concept, and I was really excited to try it out. And I really love Comic-Con. I've been going for a very long time, so I was very excited to join the camp.
My name's Eli. I'm a lifer at the school. I've been going since kindergarten. I'm going into 11th grade this year. So I've been involved in a lot of technological projects at our school for a really, really long time. I was doing after school coding programs in the lower school, and I did all sorts of coding classes in middle school, and then I joined the robotics team in high school. And I've been working with Kwaku independently for 2 years almost. It started when he came to the school and we worked on one of my geometry projects where we used AR, which is augmented reality, to make one of our physical projects come to life in a virtual aspect too. And it was very cool. And after that, Kwaku asked me, or I kind of asked if I could help him out during one of his camps a year ago, which was also about VR and AR, which is virtual reality and augmented reality. And this year I asked if he was doing anything, and he said, yeah, we're running this VR camp again. It would be awesome if you could help. So I was glad to join and participate in it again this year to help make some really cool stuff in virtual reality.
And I'm the director for the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurial Thinking here at SDJA. And so the camp that we ran this summer, it almost didn't happen. We had another camp planned, and then we canceled it right before the COVID outbreak because it involved bringing students over from China, and we didn't think that was going to be possible this summer. And then about 2 months before school ended, I was talking to Liz Nebo, the MUS art teacher, and I mentioned to her, like, hey, I'm thinking maybe we should try a camp and doing it online. It would be interesting and it would kind of be a pilot. Let's see if this will work. And so we both went out and tried to recruit some kids. And we were also fortunate enough to be able to partner with another school, which is part of the Downey Unified School District, which is a little town just south of LA. So we had a chunk of kids from there, and then we were lucky enough to have these two students join us. And what they worked on, and they'll talk about it more, but essentially they created virtual reality experiences that were featured as part of Comic-Con Comic-Con at Home, the online version of Comic-Con this summer.
I know you as our art teacher extraordinaire, and this is a CIET program. So I am so excited to understand from you how those two things came to be really hand in hand.
Yeah, so as the art teacher, the last 2 years in the visual art class, we have been doing VR projects, virtual reality projects, as one of our mediums that we learn in that class. So thanks to Kwaku, it's now been the second year that we've done it in the visual art class, creating art around storytelling and using VR programs to tell our stories and create our art that way. And through this program, we've been able to combine kind of the creation art part as well as the VR part and put it together. Students were not only creating their own assets to tell their story, but creating a whole scene to tell their story and use interactions and things like that.
Mine and me and my partner, Rigel, who was very nice. We had a very fun time creating our project. Ours is more of an experience rather than a game, although there is some game aspects inside of it. So we were trying to think of a topic that was very relevant or kind of like an idea that could show something. So for example, right now we're on Zoom, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people are kind of feeling lonely because they're all secluded in their homes, hopefully, because that would be safe. So like I'm staying home and I'm using Zoom right now to communicate with others. So we kind of thought of like the main idea of what we wanted to create and how we would create that via a ton of storyboarding. So like our main idea was like Even though we are apart, we are still together. So we created an experience where you kind of interact with certain things in the environment and it causes other things to happen.
We got to participate in this camp and meet a lot of cool people who lived all the way down in LA, which is really cool because usually in summer camps, you don't interact with people, especially if you go to a local summer camp, who live in a different part of California. So it's really cool to meet a lot of these people. So me and my partner, we developed a game based around the fact that, yeah, COVID's going around, but we wanted to educate people about the virus and what safety precautions they could take. So what we did in Zoe was we created a game where you have to go through a park and navigate through the park, avoiding getting the coronavirus from people who may have it and taking safety precautions like washing your hands in a sink or putting on a mask or using hand sanitizer. So prompt for our game was that we should be solving some problem going on in the world right now. That was the prompt given to us. And other than that, they said, it's your free reign over what you want to make. So obviously with my partner, I wanted to make it a little bit more game directed, but at the same time addressing a serious problem going on. Other groups also addressed very important problems. One group addressed depression and a lot of helpful ways to deal with it in their VR game. Another game addressed very serious topics like kind of stuff that women have to go through, like in terms of the dangers outside. And it was lots of very powerful games that solve really powerful problems. And I think that's a really great thing about this camp. It's not only that we learned how to do stuff in VR, it also taught us about real problems going on, and it forced us to kind of open our maybe our tunnel visioned minds, and it let us expand and learn more about what's going on around us and kind of taking a proactive approach and trying to be more active in terms of like addressing these problems.
Very, very fun. And it made me kind of feel almost like an adult developing a real life kind of experience or game, because I went through all of these storyboards with my partner. We schedule time like at 11 every day, like 11 to 12, to talk and discuss and work on the project. And it felt like actual game developing when we storyboarded, when we created, when we play tested, all of those things. We just kind of went through the whole life of making a game in like 1 week. And it was one of the ways that kind of made my summer so great, even though I couldn't have gone to other summer camps because I'm kind of trapped inside.
Like echo the same sentiment. I think that this camp was like very powerful in the sense that it kind of basically opened up a different reality where maybe the COVID virus doesn't even exist because we're all doing this over a virtual space. And it's as if we could kind of forget the kind of problems, even though we're addressing them in our games, we could kind of forget the kind of problems that are going on and participate in a camp, which is something you do every summer as a kid, regardless of whether or not there are situations going on outside of this kind of bubble that we're in. So I think it was a very powerful camp. I want to shout out Miss Nebo and Kwaku because they did an awesome job running the camp too. I think that I echo a sentiment that not only me and Spencer say, but all the kids from outside of LA also say, because they really enjoyed themselves and I really enjoyed myself. And I think they made it a really inclusive experience. And they also were able to connect with us on a more personal level too. There was a lot of banter that went around in the camp. It was an overall good time, I think, for everyone. I think nobody kind of woke up and sighed like, oh, I have to go to camp. I think it was a really inclusive experience. And I can't wait to see how it continues in the future, whether it is virtual or in real life too.
And also, even like imagination, that you can make things, even though there's a lot of troublesome times, like we can still do things that are fun. Like this camp, even though it's virtual, it felt like it was in real life, like face to face, even though we kind of are face to face. Like we were there in person doing it together.
But especially our SDJA students, it was just fantastic to be able to see them shine in a different and almost work-like environment, a real-world environment. We would give them deadlines, but we didn't really tell them how to do a ton of stuff. We gave them some directions, but everything they came up with was entirely their own. And it is really, it's really an amazing thing to be able to not only display that to, us within the SDJ audience, but that their work is being seen internationally on this larger stage, and to be able to say, these are the kids that we get to work with every day.